Please give it up for my good friend, Miguel Colon.
I travel doing comedy everywhere, and they're always telling me about the places I'm going. And they told me, they go, Miguel, you're going pretty far south, man, and you might not see the diversity that you're used to, but I'm telling you, I'm looking around this crowd, and I see like 7 different shades of white people here tonight, man. Wow. Everything from office pink to please stop speaking Spanish to me, I just work outside, you know? This is cool though, man. This is kind of a beach town too that I'm at, you know, kind of vibe. Yeah. I like beach towns, man. Beach towns are the only places where you see like a homeless dude riding a tricycle and his skin's made of leather and he's got nothing but like beer cans in the back of his little trike bike and he's smoking a joint and you're like, that motherfucker's living it, yo. I ought to be him. I'm going to work like a sucker, you know? This is cool though. Thank you guys for having me out tonight. My name is Miguel Colon. I am a Puerto Rican. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Puerto Ricans. I don't know where you buy your tires from, but depending on what bodegas you shop at and by your lotto and blunts, you may have met my people. And I bring that up to you guys because I am a student of culture and I have a deep belief, and that belief is this. It is okay to think other cultures do things that are weird, as long as you don't think weird means they're less than you. As long as you never think anyone's less than you, yeah. I don't want you guys not to think things are weird, because weird generally just means, I don't know about that shit, that's new, you know? And there's nothing wrong with that. I hope you guys are, like I said, I'm Puerto Rican. When you're Puerto Rican, religiously, we have like a lot going on. For us, our spirituality is sort of a mix between like Catholicism and Harry Potter, you know? There's like a lot of magic going on with us, you know? It's a lot more fun than you guys got, you know? Like when I was a kid, I would watch like a movie and there would be like some witch making a spell and she'd be like, eye of newt, you know, toad legs, you know, a little hemlock. And my friends would be like, that's so crazy. I'm like, I know, she hasn't even put any fucking Goya in it. Like, how's this gonna work without sofrito, lady? She don't know what she's doing, you know? But it's okay, man. Say, yo, Miguel, that's weird. That is weird to you, man. It's different. I get it. Got every right to think it's weird. I help you guys out, too. When you're Puerto Rican, you get to believe in ghosts. 100% science when you're Puerto Rican. So much so that when you're a kid and you're Puerto Rican, you could blame any shit that goes wrong on a ghost. You got like a 50-50 chance of walking, you know? I remember I came home late one night and I'm walking up the steps in the apartment, they're creaking, and my mom comes out, she's like, who's that? Walking around this apartment late at night. And I was like, wait, mama, that could be a ghost. She's like, damn, he's got me with science, you know? Or one time, me and my cousin BJ, we were hanging out on the fire escape and we were smoking a joint. And I don't know if you guys know, sometimes you open windows, you know, the pressure changes in the room and starts slamming doors and stuff like that. So all the doors started slamming. My mom came busting in the room. She was like, pfft. She came busting in the room because it was the 80s and moms didn't knock in the 80s, you know? That's like a 1999, 2001 phenomenon. Mom's being like, open the door, Tyler. Open the door. My mom came in, Mom, no knock warrant, everybody on the floor. My sister's there, he's resisting, you know? But my mom came busting in the room. She said, who's that slamming doors all in this apartment? I said, wait, Mommy. Could be a ghost. She said, if it's a ghost, then why does it smell like weed in here? My cousin BJ fired back, it's a Jamaican ghost. Everybody dies, Mom, don't be racist. But it's cool, man, it's cool if that's weird to you. You got every right to think things are weird like that. Because culture isn't just racial. culture is regional, it's age, it's all that. We're gonna explore all that tonight, man. I hope you guys out too. When I was growing up, a lot of guys that I knew, their uncles and them were criminals, right? And I don't mean like really bad criminals. I mean like the fun kind. Like, let me put some action on the Jets, you know? Like, but I knew a lot of guys that went in and out of prison, and I kind of thought that was kind of a natural thing. And it's not. I never want to go to prison. I never want to lose my freedoms. You know why? Here's the biggest reason I never want to go to prison. Because I got big titties and I'm a good listener. I'm gonna be way too popular inside, man. Different gangs are gonna be fighting over me like it's rush week, you know? Like, thank you, Jason, and thank you, Julio. I think the Aryan Nation and the Mexican Mafia have a lot to offer, but I think I just want to find myself right now, you know? You guys are sweet, you know? There's all different types of culture, man. You gotta study it. You gotta watch. It's beautiful. You know, I hate when people say like, it doesn't matter to me what your race or your culture or your gender or your identity is. No, fuck that. To me, it matters. I want you to celebrate it. You know, I want you to have fun with it. You know, like I do feel bad a lot of times because like every other culture, we get to really celebrate it. We get to like throw it in your face and stuff. And white people, like you guys get lumped together as one culture. Like nobody ever says white Irish, Swedish, this. We just lump you together in one culture. And I do apologize about that, but that's the price you pay when your grandparents are evil. You know, like, sorry, dog. Got a lot of shit to make up for, you know. Glad you're here. But there's lots of different culture, man, different types of culture. I love it, I celebrate it. And every culture does weird stuff, man. I love Italians, I grew up around a lot of Italians. Italians are great, they're so welcoming. They're so welcoming and they throw like little racist jabs in there, but it's so welcoming. Like, hey, Mom, Miguel's here. He's going to get some dinner. Look at him. I swear to God, I didn't even know he was Puerto Rican. I found out later. I was like, shit, I let him through the front door, you know? Like, look at this guy. Ma, get him a little scaramouche. Get him some fandango, you know? Just making words up and shit, you know? I love it. It's a big celebration. It's beautiful. And then regular white people, I love you guys too, man. You guys are great, yo. I do, man. You guys are awesome. In fact, I kind of study white people because I live in a white neighborhood because I'm doing good. And, you know, I'm in a white neighborhood. I follow you guys. I'm like Jane Goodall watching the chimps, you know? Just sitting there with a pen and pad taking notes. I'm like spices sometimes, raisins always, you know? They will refer to you as Bud or Chief, you know? I love you guys, man. You guys are cool. You guys have amazing different cultures. You got, you know, backgrounds from everywhere. But I would tell you what, I did notice that you guys do something that I think's culturally a little weird. How do I put this? Because you bought tickets. I don't need to walk all the whites, you know? No, I'll tell you guys, you do something that I think a lot of other cultures do a lot less than you. And it is very weird to me, but there's nothing wrong with it. You guys, you kiss your dogs on the motherfucking mouth, don't you, man? Don't you? Look at him put his head down and shave, too. He's like, damn it. And I know, too, these guys were like, never at my house. And then they're like, get the fuck over here, Chloe. Nobody's watching. And the first time I saw that, it blew my mind because I was like, whoa, white people's dogs don't lick their own dicks, but that's not the case, is it? You guys just got real lenient with that shit, didn't you? You'll let a dog suck its dick and kiss it, but God forbid you gotta touch a shopping cart, pour all that Purell, you know? A people could have touched this, you know? Dog's just on the floor. Hey, you guys got a whole nother vibe with your dogs, man. Your dogs are always so different. They're always so well dressed. White people dogs look amazing. White people dogs come walking out. They're like, oh, what's up, man? In a cardigan, didn't see you. Like, Look at that beautifully well-dressed dog. Your dogs are so well-dressed, I'm terrified that I would be going up for a job and your dog would be going for the same job, and I'm like, shit. Mr. Sparkles has middle management written all over him. Happy to work for you one day, bud, you know? What do your dogs have too? Your dogs have jackets with pockets. Why the fuck does your dog have pockets? I've never seen a dog go outside and be like, oh shit, you know? Like, I found a 20 in this jacket, you know? No. But I do love that your dogs have pockets, because I used to date this girl and she had a little dog, and she was white and the dog was very well dressed, right? And then he used to have pockets, and I used to keep my weed in his pockets. So we got pulled over one time and the cops were at the door, they're like knocking on the window of the car. He's like, roll it down. He was like, sir, why does this car smell like weed? And I was like, I don't know, man, search the car. And he like searched the car and he's like, we just found weed on your dog. And I was like, damn, bingo. And you were a rescue, you know? Search the cat, he's probably got a gun, man. You just don't know these days. And I get it. You're like, yeah, Miguel, that's our culture. Some of you are like, that's weird. Some of you are like, what the fuck are you trying to say? You know? And all I'm trying to say is it's weird to me, but there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. Nobody's getting hurt. Nobody's losing anything. It's just a little cultural difference. And there's lots of cultural differences. It doesn't just have to be race or ethnicity. So many times we get hung up on that as cultural differences, but there's tons of different cultural differences. Our age groups have cultural differences to them. People who grew up in certain blocks, like 80s to like the mid 90s, have grown up a certain way, and like 70s, 60s, they got like different. I help you guys out. I grew up in the 80s. In the 80s, we had games that you can't play anymore. We had lawn darts. Yeah. Everybody who's clapping is clapping because they survived that shit. Lawn darts, here's the game for anyone who didn't grow up with lawn darts. Here's the game. It's a spear. Game over, you know, that's it. You just get this javelin and you're supposed to throw it, and it's supposed to land in like an area, I don't know. Here's the real game of lawn darts. We're gonna get in a circle. We're gonna throw it straight up in the air. First person to run away is gay. That's it. That was it. It was intolerant. It was dangerous. It was so fucking fun. It was fun. Here's another little 80s gem. I grew up in the 80s, all right? Every morning, I started my breakfast eating cereal, looking at a picture of a kid on a milk carton who was missing. And it didn't traumatize me. I'd eat my cereal like, too slow, motherfucker. You know? Not me, baby, not me. Because in the 80s, you knew you were gonna get kidnapped. They pounded that shit into you. Every TV show was like, you know you get kidnapped, right? You know you get kidnapped. So you got ready for it. You were like pumped for it, man. You would just see a white van roll up, you're like, shh, I got this one, dog. You know, a little lamb wiggle. But here's the thing too, in the 80s, if you got kidnapped, that was your fault. Like seriously, like if I came back from a kidnapping and I saw my dad and I was like, oh my God, Bobby, I got kidnapped. He'd be like, oh my God, be holding me like, what happened? And I was like, I don't know, this van pulled up and they said they had puppies in the back of the van. And I got in the van, he'd be like, shh, hold on. And who was gonna raise this puppy? I'd be like, what? He called my mom and be like, you hear this shit, Daisy? He tried to get a free puppy. I'm like, I also was kidnapped. He's like, shh, one problem at a time, you know? It was different. We didn't have bike helmets. Bike helmets fucked everything up. Because bike helmets made a lot of people that shouldn't live past 13 keep going, okay? There was a lot of motherfuckers who couldn't look both ways, and those genes passed on, yeah. Russian kids didn't have bike helmets. They made them ride a bike with a knife pointing at them. They're like, if you fall, your little brother gets a new bike, you know? But you know, that's age culture. You know, there's all types of culture, man. It's all important. What I love about like age culture too is I love like grandparents. Are there any grandparents in here tonight? That's what's up. I love grandparents, guys. Grandparents they're just a wealth of knowledge. And they're so important to new parents. Because new parents, you know, they get hung up on a lot of stuff. Like, you know, they're always so worried about their baby and stuff. And grandparents know. They know what matters. Like, if you're a new parent and your kid ate some paint, you're probably freaking out. You're calling poison control. Poison control's asking questions like, okay, put the kid down, lay them down, let's do this, read the back of the paint, tell me if it's poisonous, okay, we're gonna send an ambulance. But if that kid's staying with grandpa and he eats a little paint, first question grandpa's gonna ask is, interior or exterior? You're fine, get him some turpentine. Drink a little turpentine. Your poo-poo's gonna look like a rainbow, you'll be good. New parents are funny too because they'll be on like all the social media sites and they'll be so excited about their kid, talking about their kid like he's the one, you know? They're like, Billy took a poopy on the big boy toilet today. I'm like, we're celebrating that? I can't leave the house because every time I get down to my car, I gotta take another celebratory poopy, Billy, you know? Or they're like, James said his ABCs last night in front of Nana. And I'm like, that's not a big deal. They're like, oh no, it was important. I was like, no, it wasn't. I was like, James, let me help you out. I said my ABCs last night too, backwards in front of a sheriff's deputy, okay? Okay? What pressure were you under, Holmes? You were like A, B, C, D. I was on 1 foot like Z, Y, X, W, T, U, V. Please don't search my SUV, you know? But it matters. All of it matters. It all matters, makes you who you are, and that's important. I love it. I celebrate that. I love to travel. I love to see the world. It's my favorite thing to do is to travel and see the world. And I love seeing other countries. I love visiting. I love visiting countries where like the exchange rate's in your favor. Oh, that's the best. Oh man, you get over there. Like on the flight, you're worried Netflix is gonna overdraft your checking account. But then you land and you're shopping for railroads and shit, you know? Like, take me to the monocle district. I want to get fit, you know? I went to this little store when I was in Colombia. A beautiful little store. It had all these, like, art and everything. And I walked into the store, and I knew I had dollars. I could buy anything. Exchange rate was in my favor. I walked in. I saw this one thing. I was like, yo, that's amazing. I don't care what it costs. Throw it in the bag. Then I saw this little piece of art, and I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. I don't care what it costs, throw it in the bag. Then I saw this thing me and my girl have been trying to get forever, and I was like, oh, shit, there it is. I was like, yo, throw that in the bag. And the store clerk was like, no, sir, I can't. I was like, dude, I don't care what it costs, throw it in the bag. He's like, but sir, listen. I said, buddy, I don't care, throw it in the bag. He said, but sir, that's my son. And I just whipped out a 20 and he was like, mijo, you're going with the man now. I tell you what though, something happened recently which was so unique in my perspective. When like COVID first started, right? It was very unique because it crossed so many demographics. Like we were all kind of doing the same stuff. Didn't really matter who you were, you know? We were all kind of doing all the same stuff. And we didn't know how it was gonna work and stuff. And we were all just doing the same shit. And it was interesting to watch so many different cultures react the same way. And it was dope. And it was a wild time. COVID was the first time in history white people felt more safe when I walked into buildings with a mask and gloves on. You know? I walk into the bank, they're like, put your fucking mask on! Oh, thank God. And we all had like similar experiences. Like everybody here remembers like getting out of their car, getting halfway to the grocery store and then realizing you didn't have your mask. And you're looking at your car and you're looking at the grocery store and it's like you're about to steal second, you're like, no, you try like Dracula that shit. You're like, ah! I remember being in the grocery store and thinking to myself, I would rather shit myself in public than start coughing right now. Because if you shit yourself, they're like, yo, this dude's gross, look at him, ew. But if you cough, they're like, get him out of here! Get him out! It's crazy. It was weird too because I remember like, this is the worst thing to say. This is the worst, but hear me out. It was a pandemic, people were dying, shit was crazy. But for me, the worst part was like I was bored. Right? It was boring. Yeah, it was boring. Like I remember I watched Netflix, not like a particular show. I finished that shit. You know? There wasn't a British baking show that I hadn't checked out. Yeah, I watched everything. And then it got to the point like where I would get calls from like, you know, like I just randomly get a call from somebody. They're like, hey, I'm like, hello. They're like, hey man, I want to talk to you about your car warranty. I'm like, shit, dog, we talk about whatever. You know? Like, what you doing, bro? He's like, just chilling. I'm like, me too. Hold on, let me tell the chick from Fannie Mae, I'm gonna get back to her. Hey babe, I'm gonna hit you back up, you know? But it was weird. It was weird. And I'm glad we're out doing stuff again. It really matters to me to be out doing stuff again. Like I said, I love to travel. Travel was so big. As a comic before the pandemic, you know, I was booked like 35, 40 weeks out the year, man. I was on the road everywhere and I loved it. I got to see everybody, meet everybody. It was beautiful and amazing. I remember some of the places, I remember the first time I ever got booked out of state, like 11 years ago or so. I got booked out of state to Colorado, and I remember they just kind of like legalized weed around that time. And I remember I got to Colorado and I was with my cousin, and my cousin Chewy was like, yo, do you want to go pick up some weed? And I was like, yeah. He was like, let's go to this store. So we went to the store, and I didn't know anything about weed stores. So I got out the car, immediately went to the alley in the back. You know, I was just chilling. It's like, when's this guy showing up, you know? He's like, no, man, we're gonna go in the store. I was like, we're gonna go in the store? He's like, yeah. I was like, we're gonna buy weed in the store? He's like, you never bought weed in the store? I'm like, a couple times my dude has met me in the frozen pizza aisle, you know, just convenience. So we get up into the store, and it's like this beautiful like Apple store vibe. It's all like white with monitors everywhere, and it's just beautiful. And this girl comes up to the counter, and I remember she was a white girl with dreads. And anytime I see a white girl with dreads, I'm like, damn, I hope she works it out with her dad. And so, somebody here shaking his head, she won't. Just call me Clarice. This girl comes up to the counter and she's like, hey, I'm Dakota, I'm gonna be your weed concierge. And I'm like, my what? And she's like, I'm gonna help you with buying weed. I was like, oh shit, you're gonna go half? That's what's up, man. Good looks, D, you know? She's like, no, I'm gonna ask you questions to help you pick the perfect weed. And I was like, okay. And she was like, what kind of effects are you looking for? I was like, I don't know. She's like, okay, what kind of mood do you wanna be in? I was like, I don't know. She's like, all right, Miguel. She's like, well, how do you want your body to feel? And I was like, Dakota, I don't know. And she's like, nobody's ever asked you questions before when you're trying to buy weed? I was like, Dakota, all the time. Usually, are you a cop? You know? Some butt naked with a fucking 357 in my face. Like, you know I'm not, Raul. We cousins. This is getting old, man. But she goes, all right, Miguel. She's like, just describe your perfect scenario that you want this weed for. I said, all right, Dakota, real talk. What do you have that goes with a box of zebra cakes and Netflix? She says, follow me. Takes me through the store, right? This store is amazing. It's amazing. I've never been in a weed store before. It's like I'm walking through like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. You know, I'm just sitting there. She's like floating. She's like, come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. It was so much like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. There was like a little midget in the corner with a broom mopping, and he was like, oompa doompa doopa dee dope. If you don't buy that weed, I can sell you some coke. I was like, oh my. So she takes me to the back, right? She brings out this like box. She opens it up and she shows me this thing, and it's a moon rock, right? I didn't know what a moon rock was. Yeah. She explains to me, she's like, we take one of our highest medical strain weeds, we dip it in oil, we roll it in keef, we dip it in wax, we roll it in weed keef again. I said, oh, okay, fentanyl, word. That shit's really fucking my neighborhood up, but all right. She gives me this moon rock. and I smoke it. And I get to the hotel that I'm supposed to be performing at, and it's way too early for the show. So they're trying to like give me, first of all, they tripping out when I showed up, because on the poster I'm Puerto Rican, but I showed up Filipino as fuck. You know, like, and they're like, hey man, your room's not ready and the show's not till later, but if you want, we could send you out on an excursion. I'm like, out there? I just got in here. They're like, no, man. Like, check it out. They're like, would you like to go on a hot air balloon ride? I said, what? Let me explain something to you guys if you don't know. When you're fat, you avoid wicker on the ground, you know? Anytime I'm at a barbecue and there's a wicker chair, I'm just floating above it like this for the first 45 minutes. Put a little ass cheek in a little bit, that's it. So I'm like, hell no. So then she goes, do you want to go tubing? I was like, oh. I've been living in Florida at this point for like 15 years. So I go tubing all the time. And in Florida, there's 2 ways you tube. One, your friend's got a boat, ties a rope onto it, ties a tube, an inner tube onto it, and you guys bounce around the lake holding on until you fall off. Tons of fun. The other way is you get this inner tube, you tie another inner tube onto it, you put like a cooler of beers in that one. You go down this crystal clear spring river, you smoke a little joint, you play a game called, is that a log or an alligator? You can only lose that game once. So when they asked me, you want to go tubing? I said, hell yeah, because I thought it was one of those. It wasn't. They were talking about whitewater rafting. And I didn't know, and I should have known, because I showed up and they started handing everybody helmets. But I just thought somebody on the raft with special needs, and this was solidarity, you know? Then I started thinking maybe they think I'm special needs. I'm like, oh shit. I have been really quiet and staring at those dogs, you know? So they get us on this raft, and I'm not paying attention to shit, and I should be, but I'm just real high. And they're like giving everybody the rules of what to do, and they're pointing at everybody, and it sounds really important, but I'm staring off in the distance because I saw these mountain goats, and I've never seen a mountain goat before. And they were like a cross between a sheep and a wizard, you know? They're walking sideways on the wall like David Bowie in Labyrinth, you know? Your eyes can be so cruel. I was like, so I'm not paying attention to anything. And finally, the skipper of the boat, he's like, Miguel, did you catch that? And I don't want to slow the process down for everybody, so I'm like, got it. But I didn't get it. So at some point, we're cruising down the raft. We're going down this Whitewater rapids and stuff like that. It's not like crazy rapids, but we're bouncing around. And at one point, the dude in front of me bounces out of the raft and gets into the water. And I'm like, oh shit. But then bam, everybody springs into action, right? They're like throwing the lasso, they're doing this. He's the skipper of the boat, pointing at everybody, telling them what to do. I'm like, hell yeah. But then he looks at me, he's like, Miguel, do your thing now. And I'm like, is he talking about comedy? Because this ain't the time. Like, when we get back on the bus, I'll do a hot 5, I promise, guys. But no, man, I messed it all up. Everybody's staring at me. It was horrible, because then the dude went right, and our raft went left, and it was all quiet. And I'm just like staring at my phone, pretending like I didn't kill a guy, you know? I'm like getting on Twitter, like people are gonna say some crazy shit about me killing somebody, but that did not happen. Hashtag Colorado District Attorney, I'll make a deal, you know? First to tweet it's first to beat it, you know? So luckily we reconvene, the skipper lassos the dude, pulls me back on the boat, bam. And then skipper's up on me afterwards because I'm buying the pictures, because I'm still gonna get these damn pictures. Like, it was beautiful. And skipper's coming up to me, he's like, what the hell was that? I was like, I don't know. He's like, what the hell was that? He said, bro, you said you knew how to raft. He said, you said you knew how to tube. I said, no. I said, I knew tubing. You never brought up rafting. I said, you said tubing. He's like, you should have known. I said, I didn't know. I said, because I think tubing is one thing and you think tubing is another. I said, I don't do rafts. I'm Puerto Rican, not Cuban. I said, if I was Cuban, I would have done this shit on the door holding the baby, you know? Like, you lied to me, motherfucker. So I'll take a picture, you know? Like, I miss traveling with comedy, so I'm so happy to be back, so happy to keep doing it. It's dope, man. And then when you travel with comedy, here's the thing. Clubs, they don't usually pay for your travel. They pay for like your room and board and everything, but they don't want to pay for your travel because they don't want that responsibility. They don't know where you're gonna be next. They don't want to miss a flight and then you call them, so you handle your own travel. And because of that, I fly the thriftiest, the shittiest airlines that I could fly. And for legal reasons, I'm not gonna name them, but you know the shitty airlines. You know them because you know what they offer. Nothing. But shame on us, guys. Shame on us. Because when we go to book a flight from LAX to LaGuardia and it's the same price as Hulu Plus, we should know some shit's going on, okay? And the first thing when you book that flight, you're like, oh my God, $14.99 from LAX to LaGuardia. This is amazing. Boom. And then they ask you questions you never expected to be asked when you booked an airline ticket. The first question they ask is, do you want a seat? I'm like, what did I just buy? They're like, I mean, you're on the plane. I wouldn't say you were in it yet, you know? You're like L-training it, just holding on. Like, oh, here's my stop. Bring, bring, you know? They don't give you anything for free anymore on these shitty airlines. You don't get nothing, man. The seats don't even go back. If you want them to go back, you gotta feed it coins, you know? There's nothing. There's nothing on these planes, man. And they nickel and dime you for everything. They nickel and dime you for everything. My biggest fear is I'm gonna be flying one of these airlines. We're gonna hit turbulence. The oxygen mask is gonna fall down, and I'm not gonna have my credit card ready, you know? They're gonna be like, was it zip code or PIN number? Was it zip code or PIN number? Of course I want cash back. I'm gonna need a flotation device. I rode one of these shitty airlines one time though. Check it out, guys. Rode it, got up in the air, flew up, everything was going cool. And then all of a sudden, I heard like a coming from the side of the plane. I was like, what the hell is this? So I went and touched it by the window and a gust of air hit me and I was like, so I went to go get the flight attendant. So I was hitting the button, right? But it was one of those shitty airlines, so it wasn't even a button, it was just a sticker, you know? The more I hit it, the more Rose smelled like blueberry, you know? So finally the flight attendant comes by, she's like, what's going on? I said, ma'am, there's a hole in the side of the plane. She says, come with me. She goes, listen, I know you're uncomfortable with your seat, so I want to offer you a seat in first class. I said, that's very nice. You know it's the same fucking plane, right? Like, she's like, I know. No. She's like, but first class does come with free drinks. Before she could finish, I had my seatbelt on. I said, baby, sometimes planes have holes. Relax, okay? Let's get some cocktails. So I got a bunch of cocktails in front of me, I'm drinking, and I look over and I see this dude, and I could tell he shouldn't be in first class either. He's got all these drinks in front of him, and he comes, he sits down next to me, and he looks at me and he goes, you told them about the thing, and they upgraded you to first class. I said, what? He said, I did the same thing. He raised his glass, he said, here's to the free first class upgrade. I said, cheers. I said, here's to meeting new friends. We cheersed. He said, here's to free drinks. We cheers. I said, here's to the hole in the side of the plane. And he didn't move. And he stared at me, he said, what are you talking about? I said, I told him about the hole in the side of the plane and they moved me to first class. He said, bro, I told him about the smoke coming from the engines. I said, what the hell? This lady turned around with 2 glasses of champagne. She said, you guys talking about the landing gear getting stuck? I said, what the hell is going on? And then I realized there is no first class on these shitty airlines. It's just a holding cell for snitches. They keep us in there getting drunk, so if we try to warn somebody, they're like, yeah, sure, drunkie. Next thing I know, you're gonna say that the landing gear's not coming up. Oh man, guys. Guys, I tell you what though, when I was in Colorado, I saw the coolest thing ever, which was a commercial for medical marijuana, which is so much cooler than like pharmaceuticals because they have so many like negative side effects. Because you think about it, like marijuana is such a good antidepressant because its only negative side effect is just gonna be being more chill. So can you imagine you're just sitting there and you're like, dude, this world's getting so hard. I think I'm gonna end my life. And then you just take a hit of the joint, you're like, but the gun is all the way over there. Hey guys, that's my time. My name's Miguel Colon Jr. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to see you guys again at McCurdy's.
Miguel Colon, ladies and gentlemen.